What's Max out here doing? Dreaming about chasing rabbits and squirrels. Well, as you can see, it's summertime, so it's back to making bow videos. And I'm a little bit later into starting this year because I didn't get back from a big turkey hunting trip until June. So even though it's midway through June right now, it's time for bow videos again. So I'm gonna come out here and record a couple. It's 85 degrees out here right now, so I got to get back inside before I get heat exhaustion, because 85 here where I'm at, it's hard to come by, and we're having a heat wave right here for the next 2 weeks. So anyway, let's get into the bow videos. And for those of you that like to watch the turkey videos, I'll have a bunch next year. I'll just say that. I went to Wyoming, Montana, and Minnesota, and yeah, got on plenty of birds, so I'll have a bunch of good videos next year. Let's get back into making the bow videos. So in today's video, I'm gonna try to help the people who haven't been trapped yet, or the people who maybe are trapped by the idea of perfect archery form, to get out of it, or to never get into it in the first place. The biggest thing that'll hurt your archery performance is doing something you're not comfortable with. And as an instinctive shooter, a lot of people who aim, things that are going to work different for people who aim, people who shoot split vision, people who shoot instinctive, there's going to be different things that work for those people, and it's not going to work for you. As an instinctive shooter, you need to be subconscious. You need to be fully subconscious throughout your whole entire shot. As a aiming shooter, you need to be conscious through your whole entire shot. You need to consciously make decisions rather than subconsciously make decisions. For me, being an instinctive shooter, trying to find that perfect archery form and doing everything that the aimers told me to do caused me to shoot the worst that I ever have in my life, which was last year. So this year, I threw all that out the window and I decided to do what I know is right. Of course, there's a base to archery form. You have to draw the bow. You should draw with your back. If you draw with your shoulder, it can cause injuries, especially those of you who shoot hunting weight bows. If you shoot a 30, 35 pound bow, you won't have to worry about it as much. But anybody shoots at 40 and up in poundage needs to watch and at least draw 50 with their back, 50 with their shoulder. I prefer that you draw 50 or 100% with your back, because that's how you avoid injury. There is a base to archery. You have to have an anchor point. You have to have back tension. You don't have to have back tension. I know great shooters that use their shoulder, but again, you're prone to injury at that point. So I advise you to use your back. You have to have a grip on the bow. No matter how you grip it, you have to have a grip on the bow. Now, depending on what bow you're shooting, depends on how you grip the bow. So there is a base to archery and archery form. However, there is no such thing as a perfect archery form, because different styles of bow call for different grips. Different styles of shooting call for different mindsets and call for different shooting processes and shooting cycles. An instinctive shooter should shoot one arrow at a time. If you're a hunter, you should shoot one arrow at a time. If you're practicing to become a target archer and a world champion target archer, you should follow aiming mechanics, more Olympic style mechanics, and shoot groups of arrows. Be accustomed to shooting multiple arrows at one time. That being said, I'm going to go over my form as an instinctive shooter, which I have decent form when it comes to the whole aiming mechanics. I use a lot of those mechanics, but again, I'm an instinctive shooter, so I do them subconsciously. The only thing that I think about is my anchor and my release, is when I release. Subconsciously release, I know that my trigger is whenever my bow is on target. I have this special little thing that I do whenever I do shoot that helps me be more accurate, because I can snap shoot and shoot well, but to take it to the next level, I can hit anchor and then bring the bow there, because as I draw with my back, it tends to cause this type of motion where my arm comes out and away from the bow and I roll my back into it, so the bow tends to drift up and right. So then as I'm getting ready to shoot, I push my shoulder down and in until I hit my target, and it's a quick motion. It's not that slow. I usually go like that and kind of bounce it back and forth, and that's how I know whenever I'm ready to release. But I've had comments of people that have said, you know, to go over the full from hook all the way to release, and even after release there's still parts of your form that matter. I'm primarily a bow hunter. If you're a target archer, this might help you. Watch the video anyway. It might help you. There's going to be points in here that's probably that you can pick up on. But my biggest advice is when you're listening to people on YouTube and on Facebook or on Instagram or wherever you're getting your advice from, don't take it as 100% gospel. Try it. If it does not work for you, then it don't work for you. You need to give it up. Let that go. It's not going to work for you. Do what does work. Watch the next video and do what does work, because that's what's going to help you become a better archer. So that being said, I'm going to go over from hook all the way to release and show you exactly what I'm doing from the moment I draw the bow to the moment I release to the moment after I release. So I'm only about 10 yards away, but this video again isn't about long distance shooting. So I mean, realistically, if you're hunting, this is how far you want to be. I want to be 5-10 yards away from my game whenever I shoot it. This is where I'm going to shoot from, because this is just demonstrating my form and all that. So first thing I'm going to go over is the hook. Now, again, this is all preference, what you like. Some people like a shallow grip. You know, shallow grip being right there's the string, maybe not all the way in their finger grooves. I like to be in the grooves of my finger. This finger will be back a little bit and it'll be resting on this finger. Some people like a deep hook. Some people like to come all the way. This glove's not really meant for that, but some people like to come all the way back in here and grab it really deep. It just depends on your preference. I like that medium, just like the in-between. I don't like a deep hook. I don't like a shallow hook. I like just that in-between, right in the finger grooves of my first two fingers, and then I let it lay across my ring finger. And realistically, it starts before you even hook the string. I stand very open. My stance is pretty open to the target. I don't stand square, which is both shoulders at the target. Like if I was to do this, I'm completely in line with the target. I don't like to stand like that. I like to be slightly open with my lead foot a little bit pointed a little bit back, not much, just about 3 inches back and kind of tilted in towards the target. So that's the way I like to stand. I like to bend my knees just a little bit. So I kind of bend my knees over and kind of slightly tilt my body over. And then whenever I pick up the bow, I typically just point the bow at the target. Again, I'm an instinctive shooter. I shoot based off of whether I feel like I'm pointing the bow at the target or not. If I don't have that feeling that I'm pointing at the right spot, then I won't shoot. When I start out, I'm kind of got that slightly bent over stance with the bow being held out like this. And then I hook the string. So I'll hook the string down here like this, and then I point the bow at the target like this right here. And that's how I initiate my shot whenever I'm out here shooting in the yard. It differs so much. Everything's so situational when you're hunting. You can't really practice for it. You know, you might have to stand here like this for forever, and then when that opportunity comes and the animal looks away because they see you, whatever, then you got to grab the bow or the head goes behind a tree. You've got to be able to hook the string and get back there and be ready to make that shot. So whenever you're hunting or practicing to hunt, it's very situational. It's so hard to practice for that unless you just, you know, a lot of the times I'll come out here and practice and just shoot from my knees, shoot from being bent over, shoot from weird angles, because it's going to happen. You're not going to be able to stand just like this. If I'm hunting on the ground, I'll never get a shot standing up like this to where I have plenty of time to set my feet, bend my knees, bend over, take the time to hold the bow up and be ready to shoot. It's just not going to happen. So you need to practice for those. So shoot from your knees, shoot from wherever, be bent over more, try to act like you're raising up from over cover or something. It doesn't really matter. Just do something that imitates some hunting scenario you would get in. To continue on with the process, once I establish, I kind of tilt my head over. I like to cant the bow a good bit. And my grip, I'll go over my grip too. When I shoot the bow, I like to touch my pinky into the side of the grip like this. I don't know why, it's just the most comfortable for me to touch my pinky to the inside of that grip. And then I'll just push my web of my hand right into that, and then I touch my pinky inside like this. Sometimes it's not touching the bow, sometimes it is. I just rest it like that. I also start typically with my finger on the arrow. Again, it helps me establish that point, which I went over in the instinctive video last year. I get stanced, get the bow up, and now I'm here. So when I draw, I'm going to use my back, and your back will use this muscle right here under your shoulder blade. There's one small muscle right there, and it's that muscle that you use to roll that bow back. Rather than pulling straight back with my shoulder, I'm using my back to roll back, and then I'm coming into my anchor. So then you draw, and then I find my anchor. My anchor is right here like this. My middle finger is touching the bottom of this canine and molar, and then I make a C with my hand like this, and I hook it kind of in my jawbone, and then this will ride below my jawline, and I'm just establishing, looking at where I want to hit. That's what I'm focused on, is where I want to hit, is down to the atom of just staring down and focusing on that exact spot I want to hit. Come in here, and I find my anchor. I'm high and right of the target every time. I have the bow pointed at the target. By the time I come into anchor, I have the bow off of the target. It's always high and right. Whenever you're drawing the bow, your arm wants to fight the bow, but if you're shooting a heavier poundage bow or a hunting weight bow, it's going to want to collapse in like this. So you want to be able to control that as much as you can, but mine will always do it because I shift my focus to my anchor for just a split second. So once that is established, I'll do this towards the camera. So once that is established, I pick my spot, get in the stance, hold my bow up, draw, find my anchor. All right, now to release, I have this motion where I'm pushing with my rear delt right here. I'm pushing that rear delt down like this, and it aligns. And as I'm doing that, my back tension naturally expands. So as I'm doing that, my back will naturally expand like this. I'm expanding through the shot, but I'm using that expansion to find my aim. Yeah, that's probably the best way to put it. I'm using that expansion to find my aim. So I'm drawing back, anchor, high and right, expand, now I'm on target, and I release. And I know that when I do that, if the fletching is sideways, it'll touch the bottom of my nose. It matters for me. I knock tune after I fletch the arrow, so wherever the cock fletch is wherever it's at, whether it's up or whether it's to the side or wherever. Just depends on how it knock tunes. But I'll go ahead and shoot a shot and let you see it in full motion, and I'll move the camera around me so that you can see it from every angle, and I'll talk through each step. So I'm setting my feet, establishing my hook on the string, raising my bow arm, and I'm pointed right at the target. If I had my bow drew back right here, I would hit the dead center of that target where I'm looking. And I'm going to be shooting for that middle dot. So I've got the bow held up. I draw with my back, come into my anchor. I'm high and right. And I use that expansion to draw me down to the target. Now talking through that shot, I shot to the left, I overexpanded, but let me do one where I'm not talking and let you see just me shooting. Well, I'm about to touch those arrows, so I'm off to the left. That's just me. I haven't shot for 3 months. I've only shot twice since I've got back from that turkey hunting trip, so I need to get my instincts back in. A couple inches to the left, I'll move the camera over here and do it from a different angle, talk you through a shot, and then take a regular shot, and I'll go all the way around myself doing that, and hopefully you can really get and really be able to see it. I'll even slow it down, especially when I come around to the front, so that you can see that little push to the target that comes down low. So here we are from the sideways angle, or from the front or to the side. I don't know what you call it. But anyway, so establishing my stance. Again, my foot's just slightly off. I'm just bending my knees a little bit, bending over. I hold the bow up, come to full draw, establish my anchor, and then establish my aim. That one was straight above the dot. So I'll do that again without talking through it. And there goes my foam out of my quiver. So this one I'm not going to talk through. And about touched the second arrow, or the last arrow I just shot. So as an instinctive shooter, here's another good point. If you're off, you want to be shooting a group. If you're not hitting the middle of the dot, you want to be, or even if you're aiming, as long as you're consistent, you're fine. You can always adjust your aim. As an instinctive shooter, if you're consistent, that means you're consistently hitting the same spot. All you have to do is give yourself enough time for your brain to make that adjustment, and you're going to be on. So let me go grab these arrows. All right, so now do a view from the front. So establish my hook, establish my bow hand, got my grip, pinky in, just lightly touching the end of the bow with these 3 fingers. Establish my draw into my anchor. Establish my aim, just at the top of the dot. So I'll do one of those again, where I'm not talking through it. Okay, I'm not a good shooter when it comes to shooting this many shots. As you could probably tell, I was moving my bow arm a lot like this. I was struggling to keep it out, but that's because I kind of got underdeveloped muscles right now because I haven't been shooting. So there's another tip for you. Always make sure you're practiced up and your muscles are in tune. So now we'll do the angle from the back. Again, establish my hook, establish my grip. Holding the bow right here, bring the bow up, pointed at the target, get my focus on the dot, draw, anchor, establish aim, and then let go. Just top the dot again. One more, and this time I won't be talking through it. Ooh. That one was tough. I had to fight through that one. I didn't want to keep that bow drawn back, but I hit dead center on the dot that time. I'll zoom in, or I'll show you on the camera. But there you go. That is my shot process from hook to draw, and then I forgot to go through what I did after. So after you've released the arrow, typically, since I'm doing this movement, the way I hold the bow will either kick this way and I'll let it kind of do that, or most of the time, since I'm pushing at the target and trying to get that bow down there to the target, it just either follows through, or, you know, it kind of does what it wants to do. But I try to keep my arm as centered as possible. I don't drop my bow arm, and then this hand right here typically comes back and my thumb will kind of come back and touch my shoulder. That's just, I didn't try to develop that, it just kind of happened naturally, so I just let it happen. So that was hook to shot. Just don't get in this whole big bout of you have to do everything perfect. A lot of people tell me I do a lot of things wrong, and you know, if I was an Olympic shooter and I came out here and I was trying to shoot the 10 ring or the official scorecard 10 ring or whatever that's called, if I was trying to hit the dead center of that target, that X, every single time and shoot 15 arrows in a row, I would not be shooting a 45-pound bow. I'd be shooting about a 35-pound bow. I'd have a big stabilizer on it about that long. I would have a metal riser that's got more of a compound grip. I'd have longer, real long limbs. I wouldn't be shooting a glove, I'd be shooting a tab. it's different. It's situational. Archery is so situational that there's no such thing as perfect form. There's no such thing as the perfect process. There's no such thing as the perfect aiming method or the perfect anything. It's what you like to do. If you like to shoot instinctive, shoot instinctive. If you like to shoot split vision, shoot split vision. If you like to aim, aim. Just shoot the bow. Stop worrying so much about what other people are doing and just do what you want to do and do what you like. It's so subjective. I like to be a bow hunter. I don't want to shoot a scorecard, shoot Olympic style. I have no interest in it. But there's going to be people who have full interest in Olympic archery, in target archery, in 3D archery, and they have no interest in bow hunting. And again, that's completely fine. Do what you want to do and how you like to do it. Now, if you want to be better, then you have to practice. There's no better thing than practice. Just don't overdo it, because you can overdo it. I shot last year until I started losing feeling in my middle finger of my shooting hand. So, you can't overdo it. You want to have fun doing it. You don't want to be miserable. I've seen it as a chore to come out and practice every day, and it shouldn't be. It should be something you do for fun. This should be something that you do to blow off steam or to gain mindfulness, and it should be more of like a meditation. It should be healing for you and not hurting you. Don't fall into the trap of being convinced that you have to do it the way everybody else does it, or you have to do it the way that this certain professional does it. If it doesn't work for you, don't do it. Let it go. If that practice method doesn't work for you, let it go. If that little tweak that you made in your shot makes it worse, even if they say, oh, well, you'll get used to it eventually, and it'll make you better over time. Yeah, it might in about 6 years, once you completely deconstruct your whole archery form and rebuild it from the bottom up and change from instinctive to aiming. Yeah, it might work, but you don't want to do that. You like to shoot instinctive, or you like to shoot split vision, or you like to aim. You don't want to stop shooting instinctive to aim. You don't want to stop aiming to shoot instinctive. So do what works for you and what helps you. So anyways, yeah, I'm gonna keep this short and simple from now on, because a lot of people talked about how boring they are. Not a lot of people like it, but a lot of people don't. So I'm gonna kind of get into the meat and potatoes of what I'm trying to say, and then I'm gonna shoot and get that out of the way, and then for the rest of the people who want to watch the full video can stick around to the end and listen to the rest of it. But if you don't have the attention span to watch this video, if you're already scrolling on your phone or scrolling on the comments, please don't melt your brain. Do something. Go outside, turn the phone off, turn the TV off, and just sit and allow yourself to be bored, allow yourself to be quiet. With the use of social media and stuff, it's fried all of our brains, so that now nobody has the attention span to be bored for more than 10 seconds. So, please help yourself. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Thank the Lord for a beautiful day. Hopefully it cools down soon, because this heat is killing me. It's 85, and 85 in the mountains of Virginia is not normal. It's hottest at like 75 most of the time. So I'm burning up, sweating to death, but I'm gonna record one more about instinctive, and yeah, hopefully I'll be pumping out some more videos soon. So y'all keep feeling spirit.